Please welcome AvniShah and JohnSolomon.
Hi everyone, my name is Avni and I lead our education team here at Google. I've been at Google almost 17 years, but I'm actually relatively new to the education team, so I'm really excited to be talking to all of you and to welcome you to our 2020 Google for Education Back to School Partner Forum. As our Google for Education partners, you're a really important part of our team, so we wanted to take this opportunity to talk to you about insights about our business and ways for us to work together both now and in the future. Over the course of the next 90 minutes, you'll hear from members of our team who will be sharing updates on our business around the world, industry trends, product roadmaps, go-to-market strategies, and ways that we can work together. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the space at the bottom of this video, and we have local teams online who are happy to answer any questions that you might have. I thought I would start off just by kind of grounding us in where we are today. And with COVID-19, we're kind of in an unprecedented situation that has changed both how we live and how we learn. And as the UNESCO Director General Audrey Azoulay said, we're going to need coordinated and innovative action to support schools now and in the future. If we look at what's been happening over the past few months, everyone from students, teachers, parents, education leaders, they've had to rapidly adopt tools and technology to enable distance learning to keep kids learning from home. And it's happened with a wide spectrum of success. But wherever we've seen, people are really adapting to this new world, learning on the go, and doing what they can to keep kids learning. And I personally have been really amazed to see how schools have really stepped up in this challenge. My daughter's school, they closed on Thursday, and by Monday they had reopened with almost a full day of school. And over the course of the last few months, they've been learning on the go and getting better over time. But it's just been really amazing to see this kind of happen across the world as, again, schools have really been trying to adapt to these challenges. As schools and educators have leaned more on technology to keep learning happening, we at Google have had an opportunity to kind of lean into what we do best, which is providing ways to help learning and teaching to happen anytime, anywhere. And we really thought about that in three core areas. The first is providing products that enable distance learning. So as an example, we made our advanced Meet features free for schools around the world. A second area is helping teachers and parents who are newer to technology. One of the things that we heard from our users is that there's this wealth of information out there, but it was really hard to figure out just how to get started. And that led us to launch Teach from Home, which you can kind of think of as a one-stop shop for getting started with distance learning, now being used in 155 countries. And then the third area is offering training to help enable distance learning. We have the Teacher Center, which is a place where we host free virtual training material. And we updated that with training specifically around distance learning to help build out those skills and make learning more effective. And what we've seen with all of that is just this tremendous momentum in the growth of our tools. In Q1, we saw 52% year-on-year growth for Chromebooks. We have 140 million students and teachers now using G Suite for Education, up from 120 million at the beginning of March. We have over 100 million students and teachers using Google Classroom, which has doubled. And with Google Meet being used to really keep the connection between students and teachers alive, I've just been really amazed at how much learning is actually happening over Google Meet. One of the stats that kind of blew my mind was that 1,300 years of learning is happening daily on Google Meet. So it's just been amazing to see kind of this momentum and this growth. And this has really been happening around the world. In our more established markets like the US, New Zealand, Japan, Sweden, we've seen this desire to expand investment as these markets are preparing for digital learning and trying to go more one-to-one to enable learning for more students. In markets where we've seen more limited traction, we're seeing increased business opportunities there to kind of accelerate our business in those markets. And we've also had the privilege of working with governments who are earlier in their journey with Google to do nationwide G Suite deployments. And, we're kind of seeing this as, the beginning of an ongoing kind of partnership and investment there. So it's been just really great to see kind of this momentum happening globally. And with all of that, I think what we're seeing is that technology is really more relevant than ever in education. And there is this really big opportunity ahead of us to transform learning and teaching at scale. Let me just dig in a little bit to what that means. When we talk about transformation, we're really talking about non-linear, non-incremental change, really this kind of step function change in how learning and teaching happens by being helpful to the people in the system. When we talk about learning and teaching, it's really about our end users and who we're serving, which is students, teachers, education leaders. And with the point about scale, we feel like Google, we have this unique opportunity to have deep and meaningful impact in teaching and learning at the scale of hundreds of millions of users around the world. And in partnership with all of you to build a robust and thriving edtech ecosystem where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Looking ahead, there's a few areas that we want to lean in and that we're excited about. The first is continuing to help learning happen anytime, anywhere. This is especially important now as schools are kind of still trying to adapt in this new world. And we have this added responsibility and opportunity with all these new users that have kind of come to us in the past few months. You'll hear more about our product roadmap in the sessions later today. The second area is supporting IT admins with simple and secure tools. There's more learning happening online, which means students are spending more of their time online and with technology. And we want to make sure that we're providing administrators with the tools that they need to create safe and secure digital environments. This has always been at the heart of what we do, and it's going to continue to be a focus now and in the future. And then finally, one of the areas I get really excited about is, longer term, really deepening teaching and learning experiences for everyone. With technology now playing this new role in education, with more schools and students going one-to-one, we kind of are even closer to being able to unlock the power that technology can have in learning, to be able to help students in the moment when they're struggling, to help save teachers even more time, and to give them insights to help them run their classrooms more effectively, to help education leaders make the decisions they need to ultimately improve learning outcomes for their students. And we're really excited to work with all of you to make that future possible. And it feels now closer than ever before. A really big piece of that is providing a reliable platform to build upon. So with that, I want to hand it over to my colleague, John Solomon, who leads our Chrome OS team and who's going to talk about the role of Chromebooks in the future of education. Thank you.
Thanks, Avni. Hello, everyone. I'm John Solomon, the Vice President of Chrome OS at Google. As you heard from Avni, we're experiencing a digital transformation in education. And really, this is a transformation that's been a long-term process. Many of you have been intimately involved in this transformation, along with us. This year, we had a dramatic change in the rate of transformation that was driven by COVID-19 and the pandemic that associated with that. And this didn't impact only education. It impacted, as you know, our whole world. But it certainly drove a really rapid change in what's happening in education. And I'd like to talk to you more about that over the next few minutes. But this rapid change was experienced actually in many industries. Think of things like medicine, where telemedicine had to be rapidly adopted. And we believe going forward will actually just be a bigger part of how medicine is delivered. And also just simply working from home, like many of us are doing today, in fact, almost all of us. These behaviors were always there, these needs, but they weren't nearly as broadly adopted as they are being right now. They're being accelerated. And the really interesting thing is that after this pandemic eventually subsides, we strongly believe that many of these trends will stay with us. They will persist. And remote learning will be one of them. This is a part of the transformation of learning. Yes, we will absolutely be back in the classroom, but we will have this remote learning capability that we'll be able to use as part of the transformation process of education overall. And the one key thing that's needed to make this happen is a one-to-one student-to-device ratio. It's almost impossible to do this without that. Now, what we've seen around the world is many schools that had Chromebooks deployed for their students on a one-to-one ratio were able to transition really quickly to distance learning. It was not that complicated. It was fairly simple for schools as diverse as New York City or Chicago public schools, or Oldham in the UK, or Kashigawa in Japan, or the University of Guadalajara in Mexico. These schools around the world had Chromebooks. And so when they had the situation where kids couldn't come to class and they needed to deploy Chromebooks, and they needed to get remote learning going, they had Chromebooks, they had a program set up, they had one-to-one, and they could quickly move into this new world of remote learning. But we also know that many school districts around the world were not that well positioned. And so we've been working very, very hard with many of you to try to set them up for the summer, for the fall, for next year, to be able to handle this going forward. Now, obviously, school districts have choices and they can choose many technologies. But what we're seeing is increasingly, Chrome OS is the chosen platform. And the reason it is simple. It is uniquely positioned in terms of the core attributes of the operating system to help schools and educators and students learn and teach from anywhere. It's really designed for something like this. And the principles of why it works so well in this situation are here on the slide. It's very, very easy to use. Chrome OS is flexible and scalable, and it's really built for collaboration. It's a modern operating system that is also secure by design. As a result of these attributes that make Chrome OS preferable, Chrome OS is increasingly growing faster than the market. It's outpacing the growth of other operating systems and other solutions out there. And you can see by this chart that through Q1, it grew at 28% versus the market growing at 7%. And according to external analysts that we talk to, this will continue throughout the year. But it's not only in education. If you look at consumer and enterprise, Chrome OS is also growing really rapidly for many of the same reasons that I talked about when I showed the chart. When you had this huge spike up in things like work from home or companies needing to deploy new ways of work, the technology that they reached for that fitted the bill was Chrome OS. Now we're a platform. We build software to work on key hardware that's fit for purpose. And we're very dependent on an ecosystem represented by many of you in this room. We're very excited to say that this year, there'll be more than 20 new products delivered to market by our ecosystem partners. And these products will cover the gamut from tablets to clamshells to two-in-ones, meeting teacher and student needs everywhere. We've also introduced a really great program called Works with Chromebooks. This allows for users anywhere to get the right accessories for their Chromebooks. And then, of course, there's this very important topic of the discovery, the distribution, and the management of apps. And we've been putting a lot of investment into the Chromebook App Hub and an app licensing model to allow for our partners such as yourselves to not only build apps, but manage and distribute those for users. So Chrome OS is a simple yet powerful foundation for schools to build on. And this allows for digital transformation of education to accelerate. We think of this in three main categories. First and foremost, we think of students and teachers. They need technology that can keep up with them. They're setting the pace. Chrome OS is there to support them. But then we think of IT. And IT could be dedicated IT professionals, or it could simply be teachers who stand in as IT professionals. They need technology that's easy to deploy and manage. They need it to be secure. They don't need to worry about things, about malware and phishing. And they need to know that it's flexible. And Chrome OS delivers on that. And then there are all of us, parents, guardians. We need to be brought along. We need technology that we can trust, that we need to know what are our kids being exposed to. And can we know that when we bring this technology at home, can we understand it? Can we trust it? Can we use it? So we need to bring all these constituents along as we develop Chrome OS. And really for us, as we step back and think about it, we need Chrome OS to be a layer of technology that is as thin as possible. That is a technology that enables what matters most, which is teaching and learning. That layer, that incredible interaction between a student and a teacher. And technology should be a thin layer that just makes that work as well as possible. It should not get in the way. And we're committed to be the platform that schools around the world can count on. Count on through this challenging time of transformation of education. Count on to be accessible anytime, anywhere. And for this, I have to say thank you. I have to say a really deep thank you from Google, from the Chrome OS team, and broadly from us in education to our partners. We are a partner-led ecosystem. Our partners who deliver training and professional development, our partners who distribute Chromebooks, our partners that write applications, and our partners that build Chromebooks. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great day.